Hi, my name is Patrick White, and I'm editor-in-chief of Hospitality Investor. And I'm delighted to be joined today by Francois Leborgne, who's SVP at Astore at Accor Procurement. Francois, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Patrick. Very pleased to have this discussion with you this morning.
Fantastic. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of procurement at Astore and Accor, could you maybe introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your position and the division of Accor you work in?
So Francois Leborgne, I'm in charge of Astore, which is a procurement service powered by Accor for Europe. So we present in 12 different cities, and basically we help hotels procure whatever they need, services or products. So it ranges from orange juice to construction and to maintenance of elevators.
And how would you describe the procurement division at Accor and maybe how it's changed recently?
So the procurement division at Accor, and we call it Astore because it's not only the procurement division of Accor, it's really a procurement service offered by Accor. And I insist on this because in Europe we have 6,000 customers, and half of these customers are hotels which are not part of the Accor networks. So they are customers from Astore, so we support them into optimizing their procurement, but they do not have an Accor brand. And our mission is to optimize the procurement of these hotels. So basically, make it efficient, make it cost effective, and make it sustainable. That's our three core missions. So for this, we have a team of 60 category managers, so based across 12 cities in Europe, with deep expertise on food and beverage, all consumables products like shampoo, amenities. They are experts in procurement and expert in hospitality. We will have experts for service and abonnement, housekeeping, laundry, energy, gas, and last, FF&E, so fixed furniture and equipment, and as well as construction.
And what kind of metrics or KPIs are you tracking for procurement at Astor? And I guess it depends on what you're looking to procure, but can you tell me a bit about some of the things you're looking at?
No, absolutely. So, at the core of what we deliver is saving for hotels. So that's the first thing we're gonna follow. How much saving do we generate for the hotels? Uh, and it can be cost avoidance, it can be cost reductions versus the last prices. So this will be the core KPI we're gonna measure and we're gonna report on to our customers. We also do external benchmarks because in procurement to have a good negotiation, you need to have big volumes. So the volumes we have them thanks to our 6,000 customers in Europe. Second, you need to have data. You need to have data because if you're big but you don't know you're big, no, it's not very useful. So you need to have data to understand what is your position and what is the right outcome you can expect from the negotiation. And for this, we will do a lot of benchmarks. So, for example, benchmark versus competitors, so outside, whenever there are some public prices. Um, but as well leveraging, for example, indexes, MinTech indexes is the data we use. And we will compare, the evolution of our prices versus the evolution of the market. Okay, and the last thing you need for negotiation will be like the expert, the knowledge, and this is what we have with the 60 different category managers supporting procurement in Europe. Okay, so main KPIs will be cost saving, price positioning versus competitors or versus indexes. And it will be as well, we follow more and more sustainability KPIs. So what is the percentage of our supply chain for which we understand the control emissions and we have a plan? And last year, we reached a big milestone, is to cover 1,000 suppliers, covering 75% of our business, for which we have a good understanding of a carbon footprint and the action plan to reduce it.
Are your clients coming to you and asking that, or is that something you're just doing independently because you think that that's the best way, or are people asking questions about where everything's coming from? Can we measure it in terms of carbon footprint, or is it something you're just doing?
So we took the train pretty early on. So we started doing it before customers started asking, because it's part of the commitments from Accor. And now they're asking more and more. So I'm happy we've started this early on. And they're asking more and more because their customer are asking, like B2B customer are more and more asking. So what's the footprint? What do you do to reduce your carbon footprint? And second, because banks are asking. So whenever they go to their financial partners and they want to refinance themselves, then they face this question and they come back to us and say, hey, Astor, have you started something on sustainability? I say, yeah, we have, and here's the data we can share. So we started before they ask, but they ask more and more.
Yeah, it's funny that often it comes back to the financing and the investment side of things. That's what people ask, and I mean, ultimately, that's what drives a lot of these decisions. So it's good that you can obviously keep track of it, and you can it's something you can manage, and you have the answers to basically. Um, you mentioned kind of the value proposition and how you benchmark against competitors. I mean, is it a very competitive landscape in Europe for procurement services for hotels, independent hotels, and other hotels? I mean, how do you see yourselves in the wider market? What sets you apart? What's your USP?
It is indeed a very competitive landscape. Hotels can decide to if they have a given size, they can internalize. So it's one competitor as well. So we need to show that we're more efficient, or that with our scale we can bring bigger saving than internalizing your procurement. For each country, we have very big competitors, and what really sets us aside um, is first our geographical scope. So we are the only one present on so many countries. We physical present in 12 different countries in Europe. So if I mention Europe. Second, in terms of category coverage, we have the widest coverage because we really handle all products and services needed by an hotel. And third, we have both the experience from a procurement agent and from an hotel operator. So we very, very connected to hotel needs because Accor as a group, so we really part of Accor, and we're very connected to operations. So uh, we know what we talk about because we have these both hats, these both experience, being a procurement agent and being an hotel operator.
And what was the thinking behind Accor branding this kind of separately as a store? How long ago did that happen, and what was the thinking behind that? Was it to give it its own identity so you could go and service these third party hotels as opposed to just servicing Accor hotels? What was the thinking behind the brand name and building that out?
Back in the days, we were Accor Procurement Internal Division. And then when Accor became asset light, then the owners came to us and asked us if we could help them as well with their other hotels outside of the, because a lot of owners, so they typically have hotels with Accor and hotels with our
Yeah.
competitors. But when they think of procurement, they think, okay, should I do it myself or should I outsource it? And when they want to outsource it, they want to limit the number of partners they operate with. So it started like this. It started by Accor owners reaching out to us and asking if we could as well take over their hotels outside of the Accor group. And then gradually, we started to offer these services to owners who have absolutely no hotels in the Accor group.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I guess that's the thinking behind procurement in general has changed the last few years for hotels and investors and stuff. I mean, there's been a lot of challenges in the market recently. I mean, could you talk a bit about some of the trends in recent years and how maybe some of the challenges that you faced with prices rising, anything particularly that's been difficult to source or challenge to source, something like that? It'd be great to get some color on that.
Recent years challenges. So we've had, supply chain disruption. So securing the supply chain has become a very important topic. The world is a lot more volatile as well. So securing prices long term um, has become increasingly important. Like the topics of electricity, for example, purchasing is one of the big concern of my owners, and they're very interested all the time to speak about our procurement strategy for electricity. And it's not really a procurement strategy; it's really a trading strategy on electricity. So it's become a key concern, while in the past it was more like they were not so much involved into this purchasing strategy for electricity. Now, really, they invest time and energy. They want to understand how the market works, uh, because it has value. It has like evolved so much, like with a huge volatility, that it's becoming super important for them. So securing the supply chain, securing prices in a very volatile environment, especially electricity prices. We've mentioned sustainability. It's becoming a right to play. You need to show your financial partners, you need to show your customers what you're doing, that you understand the footprint from your procurement, and that you have a plan to reduce it. So sustainability is more and more a right to play in this game. And fourth, I would say P2P systems. P2P systems play an increasing role. I've mentioned the role of data in a negotiation. That's also like key to keep control on your costs. Basically, the saying is that you gain 1% for each step of the P2P system you implement. So 1% for e-ordering, 1% for e-inventory, and 1% for e-invoicing. And with the rise of artificial intelligence, is how do you leverage, how do you capture this power with P2P systems to improve your purchasing?
I was going to ask about that. Are people coming to you asking about AI solutions more and more in the last couple of years? I guess it's the topic that everyone wants to talk about, and it touches everything. So is that part of your long-term future, the use of AI within Astor?
Absolutely. And we're still at the early stages of AI. I see it used a lot, like a catchword, artificial intelligence. Um, when I discuss with major software producers, sometimes they have big plans, but they are still plans. So everyone expects this to come and to be big and to have a big impact on procurement. To optimize your purchasing decision, to identify quickly where you can generate saving, but it's still on the roadmap of many software editors, and it's starting to come slowly. But what is absolutely certain is you cannot do artificial intelligence if you don't have data and systems. And still, many of my customers um, have not fully implemented P2P, and they're moving in this direction. So, leveraging more P2P system is one of the key dimension. And for customers, so we offer a powerful e-ordering solution, which is called Astore Shop, and which is now adopted by 3,000 hotels in Europe.
Obviously, AI is going to be a topic that dominates the industry, along with the supply chain challenges you're going to see probably over the next few years. We've got geopolitics, macroeconomic changes, all these kind of things make it difficult. Where do you see procurement heading over the next 5 years? Is it more sophistication, more data points? Where do you see things going?
Definitely more sophistication, more data point, more leverage of artificial intelligence. That's for sure. Um, Same as for sustainability, there is no turning back. Uh, I see this topic as becoming really a key part of our discussion with our customers. And you, for example, we had with a big customer in Spain, we recently ran a tender for laundry, and we looked not only at the cost, but we looked at the tons of CO2 for each of the options. And we looked at different scenarios saying, okay, this is the extreme option for cost, and this is the impact in terms of emissions. This is a more balanced scenario where, yeah, maybe there's 1% more cost, but significantly less emissions. And this is the scenario where you optimize the emissions. So we don't force our customers, we help them make the decision, and we help them make these trade-offs between cost and emissions. Do you want to go all in for emissions or all in for cost? We're here to guide you. We are at your service, but we are here to help you make the right decision, because emissions, at the end, it's cost, because it's going to translate into cost. If you go to your bank and you pay a higher interest rate, then it's going to be cost. So in a way, it's a cost as well. Not only a cost to nature, but a cost to your P&L indirectly. So more and more we discuss not only cost, not only price, but as well emissions and the impact of the supply chain. So there's no going back on this. Um, For us as well, Astore in Europe, it is as well geographical expansion, because we, Accor as a group, we have a very dynamic development in Eastern Europe. So we're going to accompany this move and develop ourselves in Eastern Europe. And it's going to be as well a diversification of our customer base. So today we serve only large chains of hotels, big hotels. So basically our customers, they look like Accor owners. But we have an increasing request from independent hotels, to benefit from our services. And I believe due to what we've mentioned, supply chain disruption, volatility in prices, procurement has become more and more strategic for these independent hotels, and they're looking for strong partners to support them. And we're gonna answer positively to this request. And in the next years, we're gonna develop an offer tailored for these independent hotels. Until now, we have said, no, sorry, we're not equipped. We don't have the right offer for you, because you need to have a different offer. Maybe not the same drop size. They might be looking for suppliers which can aggregate more product categories. So it's not exactly the same needs as a big hotel of 100 rooms. So we need to adapt the offer, but there is a need as well from independent hotels, and we're gonna work in this direction as well.
That's fascinating. So obviously, Accor as a company sees this as a potential expansion area, growing this business because there's a need across the whole hotel ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Well, that's fascinating, Francois. Thank you very much for your time today. It's been great talking about procurement with you and Accor's plans. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Patrick. It was really nice talking to you. Have a good day.